So my first question is based off of Clifford. Mr. Packard is the super for Harlem apartments. And Emily is called food stamps. As a parent of a tween, what are some ways that you encourage your daughter or child to respect the lived experiences of others? In the context of Emily being called food stamps, in the context of all the connotations associated with Harlem apartments. What are some ways?
Well, first of all, you have to explain the world. I mean, a lot of times I think as parents, we start riffing and don't you know what I'm talking about? No, they don't know what you're talking about because they haven't lived it. My dad was a psychiatrist, but he came from humble beginnings. Yeah. So as parents, we often talk about the way we grew up.
Yeah.
That's usually not the way your kids are growing up. Yeah. Okay. My daughter is living, I remember one time she was sitting at the table going, I go to this school and I know I'm there because of my privilege. And I was like, what privilege? You go, well, money, money is no problem in this family. I was like, wait, stop. No, money is no problem for you because you're 13. You don't know that's why I'm going out to Canada for 6 months. I got to go get the money.
That's
what I'm talking about. So a lot of times we have to break it down.
Yes.
This is the way it used to be. This is how I grew up, as opposed to this is the world you are living in now.
That's right.
One last thing.
Yes.
I cut you off. A lived experience is much more resonant than a learned experience. That's you understand?
Yes.
If you grew up in poverty or struggle, that's in your bones.
Yes.
We've all been in the car with your crazy older relatives and they're taking you by the first house that him and your dad and your uncles lived in. You sitting there with them like they're crazy. That's not my house. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's right.
That's different.
Yeah. So in the, making things real, right? Owen and Emily come from very different socioeconomic backgrounds.
Yeah.
How important is it for parents to expose their children to different communities? Because you do see it a lot. We'll have, our lives change from generation to generation. Things get better. And in the context of Emily being in this elite Upper East Side private school, but living in a rent stabilized building in Harlem, and then Owen having this $27 million home. How important is it for you personally, while your child is navigating in these spaces where there is quote unquote socioeconomic privilege? How important is it for you? And how do you keep her grounded and let her know that that's not necessarily everyone else's reality, to help other parents out who are walking through that process too?
Well, first and foremost, I think the foundation has to be love, respect, and honoring one another. I mean, whenever things get tight, I always sit my daughter down and I say, it's much easier to have a nice day than to have a difficult day. Yeah. I remember my brother and my nephews went to, it's my dogs. My brother sent my nephew to a really exclusive school in San Francisco. And he would tell me like how deficient he felt as a parent because, all these kids are going with their parents on a private helicopter to the sky and Europe. And when he was a little kid, my brother felt bad. And it was mostly him, my brother. Yeah. It didn't come from my nephew saying, why don't we have a private jet? It was just he felt deficient when kicking it in the drive-through, the drop-off. Where are you going, Bob? Or we going on a space shuttle. Where are you going? We're going to my friends. No, I think you do what you do. My brother brought that insecurity in. Leave that at the door.
That's important too. Yeah, as parents, we oftentimes as parents project. Sometimes we have to be self-aware. We project some of our own insecurities onto our children and we're not aware of it oftentimes. So that's an important takeaway.
Yes. And I've heard so many people, if I'm repeating myself, I apologize, that grew up, quote, poor, but never realized it until they got older and they looked at the definition of what poor was.
Yes.
So you got to keep that in your mind.
Yeah.
Keep that in your mind. You're doing it right